Hello, everyone. How are you doing? This is Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. I am so happy many of you have been coming to my website. Last night we put out some videos and unbelievable. This morning I woke up, it was almost 11,000 views with an additional 9 subscribers. And I thank you. My word is getting out. Oh my God, we have their own words here. Let me just tell you this, if I may. And it's hilarious, to tell you the truth. Really hilarious that these two people, one came over, she's an Israeli national. Another one is from Italy. I first want to clap. We have Miss Etty Feller, who is the CEO of the Israeli Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation, which ISARAC, ISRAC. And you also have, she's also the chairman of the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation out of Australia. Thank you very much, Etty Feller. Here she is. Thank you so much for coming here and making the trip. I'm sorry to hear about Israel, but you know, I did a video on a hypothesis about brain fog in the COVID shot, because your Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, said on a video interview that he used all of Israel as a lab. And from Miss Pamela Sales said, the Vice President of Laboratory Accreditation 2017, I think she's still there, for ANSI ANAB, she stated from one laboratory to another there's a variance. What does that say about the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation? Does it say fake? Does it say fraud? Does it say, well, it doesn't bode too well, that's for sure, when she said, and I quote under deposition, she said, from one laboratory to another there are variances. Protocols are missing. So unbelievable. The next person we have is the new chairman of the IAF. He took it over from Xiao Jianhua, the Chinese Communist National. And here he is, Mr. Emmanuel Riva. How are you doing, sir? Hola, and all the rest of that mess. This video today is about Etty Feller, chair of ILAC, oversees Iran and Pakistan, while anti-Israel US-based IAF accepts Iran and Pakistan. There's nowhere to be found out on the Israeli Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation. They mention we're affiliated with IAF and blah, 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 but they don't sit as members. Maybe it's a monetary thing. I know it is probably with Iran, because Iran sits as a member, but they're not a voting member of the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation. Yet Etty Feller sits there as a Jewish woman, while they have Iran and Pakistan, and Iran admitted to paying Hamas. So what is going on here with Etty Feller? Nobody sticks up and says, listen, we have to put a suspension on you, okay, or at least hold back a little bit. You know, we have all these I don't even know how to say it. We, all these sanctions, and the sanctions don't work, they never did, because you have organizations like the IAF that have countries like Iran and Pakistan who circumvent the systems. You have an organization on the IAF called the South African Accreditation Cooperation, which has at minimum 4 conflict mineral states. And for those of you who get ITAR certified, yeah, that's not good. Anyway, we're going to continue. For most parts, probably Iran's part, because they're looking to get, 17025, from what I understand, certified. And I feel bad because quality hurts the children of these countries. Lack of it hurts the children. And you know something, if they put too much quality into it, it hurts us. When we have failures in automotive, aerospace, medical, all these different industries. Usually, this is the word that is very prolific in the realm of quality. I've had in my 12 years of business, people say this to me when they say, Daryl, we're going for our certification. We can't use you for ISO because we have to pay to play to get into Boeing and Lockheed. And I have all that information. Boeing on their supplier portal states that we only accept ANSI ANAB certification along with internationally equivalent IAF. And you find out that Iran and Pakistan sit on the IAF, but nowhere is to be found Israel. And I always have felt that because they have, I think, 12 Muslim nations on board, that they don't want to have anything going on, what's going on over there in Israel right now, with a little bit of hand in the game of Iran. You have the word impartiality, oversight. There is none. There is none. Forget about it. That's done. You also have the word that I'm sure Ms. Feller and Mr. Riva are quite knowledgeable about. It's called obfuscation. That is the action of making something obscure, unclear, or unintelligible. Okay, here goes a good one. Voluntary. Voluntary. This is what voluntary consensus standards. Voluntary this, voluntary that. Nothing is voluntary. Now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of this, and you look at the word, you look at this. This came right off ANSI ANAB's website. I do not present anything that is fake and fraudulent and all the rest of that. This is actually their own words. Is accreditation mandatory? Listen to this, Ms. Feller. Listen to this, Mr. Riva. Is accreditation mandatory? Accreditation is voluntary. Accreditation by ANAB provides an exemplary level of credibility, integrity, and trust. So I'm going to tell you, Ms. Feller, and I'm going to tell you, and you have to listen to this. Well, like most quality people, you're going to go, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's going to go in one ear and out the other. I hope you're intelligent enough to do this and just not figureheads in your different associations. Now, mind you, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Riva is the head of the International Accreditation Forum, which is a repository of all national and international accreditation bodies. While ANSI and ANAB also sit on the IAF, they are IAF's underwriter, just like they are with ILAC, the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation. I'm sure these two, if they know, it's a shame. If they don't know, I'm educating them. I really don't think that they know. Within the concept and confines of quality, they like to keep you like a mushroom in the dark and feeding you a lot of shit. So we're going to continue. And I want to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, this while you're here. Boeing. Okay, Boeing, who got caught fudging documentation, all of these organizations sit on ANSI ANAB, okay? ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018. So Boeing fudged documentation caught by the FAA and fined. Now, did accreditation by ANAB provide an exemplary level of credibility, integrity, and trust? And they even, in fact, have ANAB, ANSI ANAB on their supplier portal with internationally equivalent could be Iran and Pakistan. That doesn't look good. Also, we have Lockheed Martin. They have problems with their LCS Littoral battleship. They also have, after 801 aircraft, they still are building in failure because they have quality issues on the first aircraft after 800 F-35s. That's a problem, and I think Israel has F-35s, don't they? You ought to be glad that they revamp them when they get them. Unbelievable. Anyway, does that accreditation by ANAB provides an exemplary level of credibility, integrity, and trust? Did it? And how about this? Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, where their Prime Minister Netanyahu said, we used, just like that, same voice, we used Israel as a lab for Pfizer. Because you know what they did, Ms. Feller? You know what they did, Mr. Riva? They did not test contraindications on that, whatever it is, getting shot into you. Meaning that if you're taking blood pressure or chemotherapy, have heart medication and other things, thyroid, meningitis, etc., they did not test it against the vaccine. That's why it takes 10 to 15 years. Some of you will be told, that guy Guberman, he's full of it. He doesn't know what he's saying. Well, I'm no doctor. I'm no scientist, but I'm a quality control guy over 40 plus years, and we've been involved with these people and involved in medical and all this and aerospace. And I'll tell you right now, that's why some of these people are dying from the shot, literally dying. So with Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, accreditation by ANAB provides an exemplary level of credibility, integrity, and trust. I want to ask you honestly, I know you're not going to nod your head, but do they? Yeah, not like this. Actually, it's no. That's what really. Does ANAB, Okay, does the accreditation by ANAP provide an exemplary level of credibility and trust? No, but it does provide definitely credibility, integrity, and trust in the fact that they are underwriters, ANSI, ANAP for IAF and ILAC. ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, is a private, not-for-profit, non-governmental corporation, not-for-profit, but having both federal agencies and corporations on board. These are things that, if you two know about this, shame on you, but you probably don't. As I said, they keep you in the dark. Shame, 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 shame. You have Randy Doherty, who's the vice president of ANAP at the time in 2015, who's the chairman of the IAF. You had your job, he broke it in with his tuchus, his seat. But I hope the seat wasn't certified by ANSI. You could have a leg that breaks off. Lack of quality. Anyway, you have Randy Doherty, vice president of ANAP, chairman of the IAF, and also sat as a principal on the IAF tax report. He handed over leadership to this communist Chinese national, Xiao Jianhua, who had your job before, Riva, and he is also the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services in Beijing, China. He is mandated by his country of origin, Communist China, to take your data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. ANSI took over complete control over ANAP in 2018. You have federal agencies and corporations on board. That is only a sample, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad you two were able to make it here. It's tough to get a hold of you guys. Too many martinis and caviar. Anyway, here's Randy giving a little tiny write-up in 2016, praising Xiao Jianhua concerning him taking the IAF while he still maintained his China National Accreditation Services executive position. He also praised him for being involved with quality since 1994. Here's a bigger version of it. We also have, believe it or not, the president of China, Xi Jinping. I think what has happened is he met with Putin after meeting with some of the entourage from America, and I think Putin had a coronary under too much duress or stress. I don't know whether it's the fine food that he's eating or it's the stress that coming from the Ukraine. But anyway, you have Xi Jinping, who mandates Xiao Jianhua to take data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. You have ANAP that sits on ANSI's board. You have the factor, okay, ladies and gentlemen, that you have ANAP who can issue, there's 10 different registrars in China that can issue an ANAP accredited certification. Got it so far? And here we go. This is a quaint one. Ah, so romantic. Here's Xiao Jianhua in the lab at Wuhan, China. Okay, in 2017, Xiao Jianhua was still the chairman of the International Accreditation Forum Incorporated in Delaware and also the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services. In fact, the article that we got this from said that Mr. Xiao Jianhua, the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services, is handling this lady a certification for laboratory accreditation, which we know has failed. On top of that, both of you, there was a Miss Pamela Sale again, and I mentioned her name again, Etty Feller, because I will tell you why, Miss Feller, is that she is the vice president of quality certification for laboratory. If nobody knows, then she doesn't know, and nobody knows, it appears, because what she said under deposition in Texas, because there was a laboratory issue, she said that there is no protocols in laboratory usage. No protocols, which means she basically confessed to the fact that they were poorly trained, number one, in Wuhan, China. They shouldn't be touching all these types of noxious viruses, very hazardous. In fact, in 2019, May, there was a training document made by the CDC who stated in there that one of the most important parts of any great run lab is to have well-trained people, and they didn't. But as Miss Pamela Sales said, they don't need to have well-trained because nobody's following protocols anyway. And here you go. This is quaint. There you both are. The IAF, the International Accreditation Forum, and the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation are sister organizations. Isn't that nice? And here we go with this. Okay, good. And here's Randy Doherty in 2014 when he was the vice president of ANAP, chairman and principal on the IAF, stated this, Mr. Riva and Ms. Feller. He said that an IAF MLA and an IAF MRA, regional agreement and multilateral agreement organization, is equivalent to ANAP, which means Even though the IAF is a repository for accreditation bodies, they are all equivalent to ANAB, which means that if you're going to sue them, if there's a failure with inside, let me bring you both up here. If there's a failure in the systems that products are being manufactured in or tested in, then the liability of that is ANAB's. ANSI ANAB, because they are underwriters. Nobody has said anything different. You know why? Because they have the DOJ and they're Department of Justice, they very much in bed with the American Bar Association. Isn't that a tender moment in a turbulent world? Now we go with this. The FBI is on board, okay? FBI. The FBI is on board of ANSI. I want to show you this. ANAB took over complete control, or actually ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018. And then you have this. This is the problem, the conundrum, because you have ANSI and ANAB sitting there in 2015 to 2021. They're still sitting there. You have the FBI who's still sitting on ANSI's board, and by affiliation, guess who they are sitting by? Oh, isn't this a tender moment? By Iran and Pakistan. And why is it that Israel, Miss Feller, is not allowed on ILAC, on IAF? Israel is nowhere to be found, but you find Pakistan and several other Muslim countries on board, and Israel is not. Could it be that with 12 countries, you're making more money than if you got Israel on there, and some of those countries left because, as you see in Israel right now, they've got a problem with Hamas, and you have the factor that Iran sitting here is financing Hamas. So when Christopher Wray says we may have some problems in the United States with terrorism or something, well, take a look at this. Christopher Wray, through the affiliation of ANSI, sitting on the IAF, is affiliated with Iran. And the worst thing is, Miss Feller, if I may say so myself, as a proud American Jewish businessman, is how in good God's name can Iran and Pakistan be so vibrant on an American-based company like the IAF? And Miss Feller, they're not even half of what they are on the IAF. They're both equivalent to ANAB, okay? ANSI ANAB on the IAF. And where is Israel to be found? I'm asking a question. Well, if your prime minister said they use the Israeli people as a lab for Pfizer, then I don't think you have an answer for that, do you? My telephone number is 203-556-1493, and this is based again on a most recent quality article that came out concerning me. Who is responsible for quality, manufacturing quality? QA expert Daryl Goodman explains. And let me just say this, I'm going to leave it here, a long enough video. But I hope you got the gist of this. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Once again, this is about Etty Feller, chair of ILAC, oversees Iran, Pakistan, anti-Israel, US-based IAF, accepts Iran and Pakistan. But where the heck is Israel? You know, she still can't answer that. Unbelievable. Thank you very much. This is Daryl Guberman, 203-556-1493. And the last thing I'm going to say to both of these people, I love this from Thomas Paine. It is impossible to comprehend the moral mischief, if I may so express it, that mental lying has produced in our society. When a man or woman has so far corrupted and prostituted the chastity of their mind as to subscribe their professional beliefs to things they do not believe, they have prepared themselves the commission for every other crime. And it's criminal. ILAC, IAF, and where's Israel on the IAF? I thought they were allies with us, America. But as you can see, they got Iran and Pakistan. And I'm not saying this about the people. Pakistan, who harbored Osama bin Laden. Iran, who admitted to harboring some of the terrorists of 9/11. I'm talking about the politicians, not the people. And I'll tell you something that Moses said to the Pharaoh, and this goes to Iran: let my people go. Let them go. And I thank you.